So, Excel has more than 30 charts, and we'll start with very basic, and then we'll view some of the other charts which you may not be aware or you may be aware. So let us start with something like bar and column chart. These are very basic charts. And as you know, bar and column chart, column is a vertical, bar is horizontal. They basically just compare the numerical data across various categories, and they give you the absolute value. The y actually, if you are taking a column chart, the y-axis will give you the value and x-axis will give you the various categorical variables. So these are various, what are the various categorical variables here? The genre are the categorical variables. There are 4 categorical variables because, we have to understand from the use case study, because industry vertical study is all about use case studies. There are 4 genres. These are the categorical variables, which is comedy, thriller, documentary, and romance. And all the revenue items based on the months from January to December, they are the values. So if I draw a column chart, which is a much better representation than bar, because our eyes is used to a column chart, I can draw a category, 4 categories, and see value wise which has done better for that studio in Hollywood. So I don't need the total and all. I just pick up all these things. Once I pick up, I just go to insert and I just pick up the column here, a 2D column. It's a very simple chart. I can just do column chart, pick up chart and write column chart, press enter, it will come here. So it gives you a very simple column chart. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are the months till 12. And each of the 4 categories are represented in the different color, and y-axis gives you the value. You have to again just remember very basic that column chart gives you the value on y-axis. A histogram gives you the frequency count. That's the big difference. Otherwise, people will confuse column with bar. They are different. Bar is basically a horizontal chart of the same. Column is a vertical chart. So you can draw a bar chart also. So we'll not spend too much time. It's a very basic chart. It is very evident that how do you interpret? In the month of January, comedy had the maximum value of ticket sales, $50,000. And it continued the trend till the month of 6, which is June. Then slowly this one, which is basically thriller, took over from the month of July onwards. August thriller was actually grossing at upwards of 40,000 and it continued its high run, which means that depending of course on the number of films which were released in Hollywood in that part of the year 2015, first half was dominated by comedy and later 6 months was dominated by thriller, value wise, ticket values wise. This is a very simple interpretation. The other interpretation that you can do is the gray bar, which is your documentary. Documentary continues to be the undergrosser. It doesn't contribute much. Not many people watch documentary. It is steady and very low. So once you are doing it took you just 2 minutes to interpret this data. It's so simple that comedy was for the first half, first 6 months, thriller for the second 6 months. Thriller for the second 6 months, documentary was the underscore. Now when it comes to histogram. Histogram is very important. Most of the people confuse between a bar and a histogram. In histogram, we don't call them bars, we call them bins. It is not value. We actually represent them frequency count. On the x-axis, it is the class interval of the variable. On the y-axis, it is basically the frequency count. When you have a class interval and the frequency count, it is nothing but a distribution of the data. So distribution of data is very important, and in distribution of data, we only take univariate. We'll take height or weight or age in univariate mode. So let's me take this is categorical data is of no use in histogram, just univariate number data. I take height, go to insert, then I go to this. Where is my histogram gone? Oh, I opened up a wrong Excel sheet. It is Excel 13 that I opened. I should have opened Excel 16. Just allow me to open Excel 16.
So there is a histogram, sir.
No,
Just
no, in my this thing it's not coming because I have both the versions there, no? See, it's not coming. That there is you see difference is that in area chart there is another bar which is basically the new addition in Excel 13, and that new addition is basically your the statistical charts.
right, sir. Yeah, there is that.
You know, there's a new bar which is the statistical charts. So first I launch this Excel 2016 and then open up some workbooks from here. And then I look at this. Yeah, now see this one. This is
Yeah,
what this is not there. I showed you Excel 13, so I both the version here. That's what I'm saying. Now Excel 13 was basic, 16 is very rich, and they added a lot of things. So I pick up this height, go to this statistical bar, just click histogram, and I just do height. Now, if you see it is a histogram, it shows the class interval in the x-axis, and on the y-axis, it gives you the frequency count of number of students. A very quick interpretation. In the class interval 73.4 to 74.2 inches, we have the maximum students, which is 180 plus. And in the class interval 75 to 75.8 inch, there are no students. Similarly, from 71 to 71.8, no students. So what it interprets, Saurabh, is a very quick, because at this time, when you're just about to graduate, you should be very quick in interpretations. A quick interpretation would be the mean, mode, median would lie somewhere near the 73 to 74 class interval inches, because it is not exactly a perfectly symmetrical bell curve, but more or less resembles like that. It is not a totally a skewed one. So similarly, when I look at the weights histogram, I see a different kind of pattern. It is definitely doesn't look like a normal distributed graph, because distribution shape is what you find out from histograms. Again, y-axis is kilograms, pounds, and x-axis is the class interval. See, in histogram, we take the univariate. That means both y and x-axis, they are representing the same variable. X-axis is representing pounds, but class interval. Y-axis is giving you the frequency count of number of students. We are just checking the frequency count of pounds. So again, a quick look here. You see weights representing in all class intervals. There are no empty class intervals. Each of the heights is something which is called a bin. So again, 193 to 201 pounds has the maximum number of students, which is 180. Age is also a number variable. I can quickly do the distribution of age. And this is the age histogram. Again, I will find that from 25 to 26 years, maximum students are enrolled. 160, it must be a master's course or near about that. That's why you have 24 to 26 as maximum number of students, 160 plus students. Would you be knowing what is the Pareto chart?
no, sir.
Okay, that is what the exercise is, that you understand some of the concepts much quicker in Excel. Concept remains the same. Now you remember these are the bins. These rectangles are called bins in histogram. So when you reorganize these bins from highest frequency to lowest frequency,
Okay.
now they are randomly organized bins. So when you reorganize from highest frequency to lowest frequency, this bin will come first. This class interval will be first. followed by this class interval, then this class, then this class, then this class, then this class, and then this class. Then these two classes will come together, then these, then this class will come, and then the outlier classes will come. So you represent the bins in the order from highest to lowest frequency, and then check their cumulative frequency count through a sort of a line chart. And that line chart, which is basically just counting the cumulative frequency when you order the bin from highest to lowest frequency, is called a Pareto chart. So I can redraw a Pareto chart on H, which is very familiar to you in your mind, fresh, and see how the Pareto chart looks. This is how the Pareto chart looks.
Yes, sir.
What did you do? You just reorganize the H from highest frequency to lowest frequency, and then did the cumulative frequency count. Because at this class, this was the cumulative frequency. When you added another class, the cumulative frequency obviously will go up. With every addition of a class bin, the cumulative frequencies goes up, and towards the outlier, it becomes saturated at 100%. Similarly, you look at weight. And this is what weight Pareto is. When you reorganize in frequency from highest to lowest, the bins, and this is represent the cumulative frequency. Height. Pareto. So is Pareto clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Great. Then it is we call something called a line chart, fairly simple chart. You know what is a line. This is a time series. Line charts usually are time series, as we have done in ARIMA model. So I can just get this and control click to click Google. So you can selectively use column by doing control and click. And then I just do a line chart, a 2D line chart, and it gives me the date wise how the stock price is moving from 6th of April to 5th of how many data points are there? More than 254 data points. It shows you the movement of this thing. I can also do a trend line here, and see, it gives you the trend line forecast also, because what I'm interested is mostly in the trend line forecast. Or I can just take this and this and this, and then see the line chart. It gives me the line chart, and I can similarly do the trend line, a linear forecast. Or I can take all of them together. Excel takes the first column as the x-axis, as you know, and quickly see. So they are somewhere merging at this point. Google was outperforming Amazon for some time, and then they actually merge at a particular point. Very simple chart, nothing much to actually put our heads on. You're already aware of that, all these charts. Now let's come to something which is called an area chart. What is basically area chart? Actually, it is just like a clustered column or a staked column, and it actually gives you the composition over a period of that data. Let us see how it is the same data, which is comedy and romance. We have done a column chart. It is nothing but a clustered column. I pick up the same as I had done in column, but it is a very useful chart. I will pick up wherever I had, it will come under column only. Oh, okay, where is that column chart? 2D area, it will come under the line chart. There are three options of 2D area. Let's understand the options. First option is this one. Area chart. Now, what is this option telling us? It is basically telling us that obviously during the first part of first 6 months, comedy was doing far better than thriller and romance. And then slowly thriller picked up, and somewhere between 6th and 7th month, thriller took over and became the gross earner. Then obviously comedy will be overshadowed by thriller because comedy is now going down. So it will be somewhere behind thriller. Now it actually is a submerged chart in a way, so it doesn't give you a full picture. It just gives you who is the highest and those kind of at any point of time, which is the highest grosser, because it is basically camouflaging the other areas. Thriller you don't see here at all. So let me see the second option because I want to see everything now. When I see the second option, it gives me all the four genre, but it's not necessarily in the terms of it's a staked column, which means it's added one above the other. For example, this is 49,000 January, then thriller contributed another 12,000 more. So it becomes 60,000 and documentary added another 9,000. Add documentary 70, it becomes 70,000. Romance added another 14,000, so it becomes 84,000. It is a gross of all, so this becomes the total. This total is 86,000. So here I can see that here it was 86,000 and in this particular month, the month of 8, it has given the maximum gross. Let me see the data point. Month of August, 95,000 has contributed maximum, 95,000. See, month of August, 95,000. And these are the individual contributions. So it simply adds up the contribution. This also many people feel this is a better chart in area representation. For the simple reason that it gives the individual contribution of each of the categories. Then we have something called a pie and donut chart. One of the simplest chart. You can simply do a frequency count, but don't underestimate donut because today we'll do a very interesting exercise about how to build a speedometer dial. So let quickly taking these two. Are you doing it now simultaneously?
Yes, sir, I am.
Pie chart, because you should get a habit of doing it very fast because then your interpretation will be very fast. I can take pie chart, cost and category, or I can just take cost and revenue and do a donut chart. Donut is basically gives a round hole in the middle, so it is sometimes it is a better representation also. There are basically reasons why donut charts are useful at times. Then we come to something called tree maps and sunburst charts. Now, what is exactly a tree map and sunburst chart? You have done trees and all. So suppose you want to see this first table and you want to see revenue by book title, subgenre and genre. Or you want to see the number of employees by department and office, or population by city, state and region. So you want to see basically a tree structure. What follows the other? You want to see the hierarchical level of topics and subtopics. When you classify topics and subtopics hierarchical level, you can create a map. It is not a flow chart. It is basically a map representation of it via a tree diagram. Let's see how it looks like. Pick up everything, insert, look at these new tabs which are there. One of them will give you a tree. Just look at tree chart. What exactly is the tree chart doing here? You can see that the tree chart is giving you that horror actually is at the root, followed by your comedy, followed by your drama, followed by your scientific fiction. And when you look at horror, the sub branches are Clown Parade and Ezekiel Strikes Back. Then, it takes you through everything like rating, title, everything. And what is the value on which we are actually making this? Ticket sales. Based on the ticket sales, we have created a tree chart. On the root node is horror, comedy and drama, and below horror the tree structure looks like this, below comedy the tree structure looks like this, below drama the tree structure looks like that. So what will the tree structure look like? It will give you basically the genre as well as the title based on the ticket sales. Not a very elaborate tree chart, but actually quickly you can look at the tree chart. Now look at this one. This is basically nothing but an office representation, various department. So we have cities, Boston, New York, Chicago, department, marketing, sales, IT, name of the supervisor, managers, employees. So I want to see what is a Sunburst chart here. Again, go to this one, create a Sunburst chart. What exactly is the Sunburst chart? It actually gives the depth of different hierarchies, levels, and dates. Now in the tree chart, the depth was not giving. The length of the root node was not giving. The height of the node was not coming. You remember how do you calculate the height of the node? It was not coming from top to bottom in the tree chart. Here it is calculating the depth or the height. So when you look at this one, this tree, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 1, 2, 3. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. So for the various sub branches of the root node, it will actually help you calculate the depth. Depth is nothing but the height from the starting of the root node till the point where you reach the leaf. That is the height or the depth, if you remember the tree part very well. So this is the basic difference between the tree and the sunburst. Tree gives you the overall hierarchy and what follows a particular node, what comes under a particular node. Hierarchies, topics and subtopics. And Sunburst gives you the depth or the height of the node. Then we have something very popular, which is these are very basic charts, so I'm just rushing through them. Waterfall chart. What is a waterfall chart? Waterfall chart is actually it all started in the software industry because you are joining a software industry if you join HCL. So they were working for last 30 years, all the software majors on waterfall chart. Everybody makes waterfall charts there. Waterfall chart is a very simple PMP chart, project management chart. It is a sort of a PERT and Gantt chart. And whenever you get a project, it is not divided into many parts. Earlier days, it is basically given to a particular project team. They execute it and then the output is given to the second team. Then they take it over, they do their part and give it to the third team. It is a relay race. How you run a relay race. Okay. So the input of one depends on the output of the previous team. So obviously the bottleneck is that if the previous output delivery team fails for some reason, your project goes for a toss because you kept waiting for the output to come to you. Secondly, when at the end of the project there is some error, it is very difficult to find out where did the error, which team did the error. Now it is also more widely used in representing numbers because it simply gives you the contribution, which layer made what contribution. It's a P&L statement. The gross revenue is $100,000. The raw material is 30,000. Returns is some additional revenue, 8,000, which is positive contribution. So overall gross profit or gross margin is $78,000. Then there are some sales, general administrative expenses, cost of running business, marketing 10,000, commission 4,500, payroll, equipment. All that has to be subtracted from gross profit. The operating income becomes 32,700. Then the cash is lying in the bank that accrues some interest, 4,500. but you're also taking a loan, so that you have to pay some interest on that loan, which is $2,000. Some lawsuits have happened, so legal expenses are 9,000. Net income or profit before tax is 26,200. This can be represented through a waterfall chart. Insert, go to this one, and just click waterfall. Very good. Waterfall chart of profit and loss. So you have increase. It is simply gives you the blue is increase, the orange is decrease, and gray is total. Gray is whatever is written in numbers. So you can see that you started at 0. Then the gross is increasing to 100,000, which is the first line. Then there is a decrease of 8,000. So now this is total is 30,000. Returns is 8,000. So the total is increased. Then there's a contribution of 78,000. This has to be added. Each of the line has to be added as contributions, increase or decrease, each of the lines. 78,000 again 10, 4.5, 24 and 8, they are the decreases. So you will keep decreasing, value keeps decreasing. Then there's a contribution of 32,700 increase. Another increase of 4,500, 2 decreases, and then last 26,200 increase. And these are the various categories. So this is how mostly you do on even a software programming project. But now they are using agile model or agile framework. All this HCL and all these companies, which means that get a project and divide into various subparts and give the subparts to each of the teams. They work on it parallelly. So one team input is not other team's output, or one team's output is not other team's input, vice versa. And at the end of the day, you just integrate and assemble all the project outcomes together. Agile framework is widely used. Now you can do the same thing for something called a funnel chart. Funnel chart is basically if you are joining the sales ops and all those things, funnel is very important. You have something which is called a suspect, then prospect, then you have got a customer. Suspect is basically your starting of the funnel. It is an inverted pyramid, like what you do experiments in your chemistry lab, just invert the funnel. So suspect maybe say 100 companies whom you are chasing to sell your product. Out of that, prospect will become 40 because 40 actually are showing interest in your product. Finally, the customer will become 10. So the funnel size keeps on increasing. Somehow in my Excel 16 funnel chart is not there, but in your Office 365 or whatever version you are using, if you have a funnel, you can draw a funnel. It will be somewhere here only, near to waterfall.
No, sir, I also have a funnel.
Okay, but funnel chart is there in Office 365.
I am on Office 365 only,
But funnel chart should be there, otherwise you can only make a waterfall chart again here. Now this waterfall chart again, I wish I could have shown you a funnel. It is a very simple inverted pyramid. But if you represent the same through waterfall chart, again it is at the start of the marathon. 100,000 runners take part in marathon. And it is a 35 mile marathon. After 5,000 miles, 98,000 people complete. By 25th mile, 52,000 people complete, and overall 50,000 people, 50% finish the marathon. So you can actually, this could be better represented through a funnel chart.
Okay.
Now let's come to a radar chart. Again, something maybe you have not used earlier. Have you used radar chart ever?
No, sir.
Okay, when you have three or more quantitative variables, and you want to represent on a 2D chart and related to a central point, how these three quantitative variables are moving out of a central point, away from the central point. You take this takes the shape of a radar. So what could, and it looks like a bicycle wheel with spokes. Bicycle पहिया की तरह लगता है वो. Like examples could be test scores over multiple subjects. And in this particular case, radar chart, you have basically something like it's a psychological test about three people, Tim, Cathy, and George. And you are seeing their test patterns in openness, consciousness, neuroticism, some psychological parameters you are checking. So let us see how it comes. Insert. आपका radar आपको ढूंढना पड़ेगा कहाँ पे. Yeah, this is a new button which is radar. There are three forms of radar. The second is a mesh, which is slightly complicated. Just take this one. So this gives you a radar chart. This gives you a radar chart, and
I'm getting different radar chart, sir.
You are showing a different radar chart. Show me that radar chart. It is about accidents.
Yeah, I'm just showing.
Yeah, I know that radar chart. It is a better radar chart. Just
This.
use that. It is basically okay. Let me just show you that radar chart.
I'm showing. Can you see my screen?
No. I know. I'll just show.
Okay.
I know what radar chart you are showing. Okay, show me the radar chart.
One sec, sir. I'm getting this. Sir, I shared my screen.
You shared your screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, correct. This is the radar. I actually accidentally clicked the surface chart. This is the radar chart. And okay, let me show because I can see my screen better.
Yeah.
I accidentally clicked the surface chart. That's why I was also wondering what chart is being shown here. I accidentally clicked the surface chart. This is the radar chart. So this is the radar chart. So what you are doing is that you are starting with the 0 and you have basically these are the four parameters which you are measuring, quantitative parameters. These openness, consciousness, neuroticism, extravism, agreeableness, these are all represented as quantities. So there are four variables which are quantitative variables, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 variables, 4 series, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 series. And starting from 0, you are basically seeing that this thing is showing the maximum, this orange one, which is series 2. So you have to see which is series 2, how it is moving away from the 0, which parameter is showing the highest this thing. So what happens is that in psychological test, these people will test your various parameters and then show you a radar chart, the psychologists, not doctors. And they said, look, answer this 100 questions and after that they will prepare a radar chart for you and show the normal person radar chart and your radar chart, saying you that you are going through some psychic treatment. Your version is slightly higher than the normal, or consciousness, how do you pronounce it, is lower than the other, something like that they will see. So similarly, we can see this one also. Sales by month and sales by, let's take it together. So we have taken volume and sales both together of potatoes, carrots, apples and watermelons, representing by different colors. And from 0, you can take the cursor and it will give you the actual value of the radar. You can see that which is most away from 0. I mean, which has the highest scatter from 0, both in volume as well as sales. Yellow has the highest, orange has the highest volume wise, yellow has the highest sales wise. Not a very popular chart. Now let us see something stock. We had done a very good stock exercise last time. So let us see what happens in a stock chart. Uh, this is a stock market price of AAPL, which is Apple stock. And it is basically showing you how many data points, 36 data points from 1st April to 20th May. And it shows you the parameters of volume, open, high, low and close. You know what is a doji candle, you know volume is number of shares that were traded on that particular trade. What is the opening price, what is the highest price of the day, what is the lowest price and what is the closing price. So I don't want this one. The symbol has no meaning in the stock chart. I can use that as a title only, as the legend. So I will click choose everything here and then see the stock chart here. It will come under this waterfall chart. Now don't click anything. Just take the cursor here. Nothing happens because Excel accepts the stock chart to come in a particular format of the columns. In this first chart, Excel expects that it should be high, low, close, but we have, of course, date is the X series, so that is not counted. By default, it will be taken as X series. But here we have volume, open, high, low, close, 5 parameters. So it will not be reflected. I take this one. It shows open, high, low, close. It simply gives you the doji candles. That's how doji candles are represented. What was the opening price? What was the high? High and low are the whiskers, and open and close are the end of the candle. It is like a box and whisker plot. But I have something called volume. So again, it will not come here. Then this is volume high, low, close. Open is not there. Again, it will not come. But you take the cursor here, it will come. Because this last graph, our Excel is in proper order. We are giving volume, open, high, low, close. So you can slightly increase it. You can see the candles coming. This axis, the primary y-axis is the number of volumes of shares, number of shares. The secondary is the closing price, which is the last column. And the candles will give you the open high, open and high. Open, high, low and close. Candle will give you all. इस candle को थोड़ा बढ़ा कर सकते हो. These are nothing but candles, as you can see. So this is a very quick representation of your stock chart. Now let us come to something which is called a heat map. You are aware of heat map. You have done a lot of heat maps in SNS. Have you ever done a heat map in Excel?
No, not in Excel, but with you only in Python.
Python, and we did some heat maps in a lot of SNS heat maps and all. We use heat maps in also text algorithms, basically. A lot of text algorithms we did heat map. Okay, now here actually you do correlation and you simply start doing heat maps. Now this is basically giving you a temperature versus the cities of different parts of the world from January to December. You know that Auckland and Sydney, they come in the southern hemisphere, New Zealand and Australia. So June, July is their peak winter months, and December, January is their peak summer months, just opposite to us. We are in northern hemisphere, so is America. So they've taken various cities, so you can see that January will be very low for most of the cities except Sydney, Auckland, Miami, which is basically in the southern hemisphere, and which is, I think Miami comes in Florida, and then Phoenix, that's also in southern hemisphere. These four will be very high temperature in January, and these will be very low. then you will possibly see that these will be the high points from June to September. Phoenix, in fact, most of the region will be hot in June to, so this points will be very hot. January, December will be very cold, except northern and southern hemisphere, which will be opposite. Now, if you are shown all these numbers at a stretch, you will not be able to actually create a visualization in front of you. And if I increase the number of cities, it becomes more complicated. A very good point to do that is heat map, where you actually do a color grading scale from light color to dark color. And you will say that light color actually represents lower number and dark color represents the higher number. And Excel has a very good function called conditional formatting, which automatically correlates the number in the cell to a number, to a shade of the color. So for that, we don't use insert. We use just because we are only interested in number data here. Select all the number, go to home, not insert. This is the only chart where you don't click insert. Conditional formatting, color scale, and you will see various representation of colors. Like you have CMap and palette that you design and choose in Python. You can just take the cursor. This starts from green to red color scale. And you can see green is showing the darker shades and red is showing the lower numbers. So, and then you take to the other one. It shows you red, yellow, green color scale. Again, your green is the lower numbers and red. Similarly, you can just, and this particular I particularly like green to, this gives a very good representation of the darkened and light and the higher and lower numbers. And similarly, even this is very good. This blue and this thing also gives a very good visualization. These doesn't give very clear reflection of picture. So you can or you can do a customization yourself. But also I want to do one thing. I want to remove these numbers because numbers are cluttering the colors. I just want a clean slate with colors. So I can just do, I just choose the numbers, do control right, format cells, pick custom, and in case of wherever it's general, just type this 3 times. OK, the number vanishes. Then you do conditional formatting and you can see the various color scales. Those will be without any numbers.
Sir, can you show one more time that how you removed these numbers?
I can't take the numbers back, but what you do, just choose all the colors and you do something called right click.
Yeah.
Format cells.
Okay, format cells.
Custom.
Yeah.
And then just type these 3. See, my numbers are back here.
What you have typed, sir?
There is this semicolon के नीचे है ना वो एक the symbol below the semicolon L के साथ वाला जो है नीचे वाला. I type this one. Next to the L, the lower symbol. Next, lower, not the semicolon. Three times. Got it?
Yes, sir.
So you can again see the various colors without numbers. But instead of this, I want to give some custom color. So just pick up those cells again, and instead of showing these colors, you can also show this where is increasing, decreasing, but go to manage rules, click manage rules, new rule, And you can see on the top, format all cells based on their values. Excel has recorded all those numbers and based on that only it will do the color. Choose the color, lowest color. Let me choose yellow. Highest color. Let me choose blue. A good combination. Okay. Okay. See, this is my custom color now.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, this is some of the, let's go to the second set of charts now, because this is a quick creation of a heat map. You can open up exercise 2. Stock we have done, heat map we have done, surface combo and spark line. Come to surface chart. Just give me 2 minutes. You can open up the exercise 2, which is all this stock charts, heat map, and 5 charts. Have you opened the chart?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Stock and heat map we have done. Start
Yes.
with the surface chart.
Okay.
This is the surface chart. Surface chart gives you a X, Y, and Z dimension. You have 2 dimensions usually. Surface gives you X, Y, and Z dimensions. How? Let's see how. Look at this chart. It gives you car accidents in Cambridge, which is a city where you have that Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, Boston, by day of the week and hour of the day. So what are the 3 dimensions? Number 1 dimension, accident, which is a number. What is the second dimension? Hour of the week. At 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock or 10 o'clock on Wednesday. Hour of the week. What is the third dimension? Which day of the week? Wednesday. Let us take this 49. First dimension 49. Number of accidents. Second dimension 1300 hours. 1 o'clock. Third dimension Wednesday. So we have to have a 3D picture on this. So let us see how the 3D picture looks like. Pick up everything. I don't want to pick up the title, which I can always add. Insert. It is coming under, it will come under radar. Surface chart gives you 3 versions. Second version is a wire mesh. Third is very complicated. It is very mathematical. First one is good enough for us. Click the first one. So I can give some title. Dense in accident in Cambridge. Now, I can also give some secondary title, access title, to make it very simple. It will give me primary horizontal, or you can either do here or you can come here also. You see this, my cursor, add chart title, come here also. I can give the access title. It will show me primary horizontal, primary vertical, and primarily depth. Primary horizontal, I will give this. I'll just pick up this. Primary, this axis here. What is the x-axis that it gives me?
Time, sir, hours.
Hmm?
Hour of the day, sir.
Hour of the day, correct. What is the primary vertical it gives me? Number of accidents.
Car accidents in Cambridge, yes.
And what is the depth? Is the third dimension?
It's sir, weekdays.
Day of the week. So my chart is complete, but I can do little bit. Can slightly increase it.
It's not very understandable.
Yeah, because you can't make the depth. So you can do right click. You require some experience to understand these 3D charts. Right click, do 3D rotation and try to rotate the x-axis. R of the week को आप rotate करने की कोशिश करो. It's a 3-dimensional view. If it can make any sense to you. अब x-axis को rotate कर रहे हो. y-axis को number of accidents को rotate कर रहे हो. मतलब आप उसको एक 3D object को उल्टा पुल्टा घुमा रहे हो. I want to check the depth here. Just to give me a visualization of the depth, I am rotating this object. I can also percentage of depth को भी मैं increase, perspective को भी change कर सकता हूँ. थोड़ा ऊपर zoom type का है. और I can do the depth का थोड़ा सा rotate कर सकता हूँ यहाँ पे. Just to see what is the depth. Depth is the third dimension. You know, in 2D it is very difficult to visualize the third dimension. Essentially it gives you 3-dimensional picture. जैसे आपको टीवी में रोटेट करा कर दिखाते हैं. Hour of the week or accidents, so I can figure out. But how do I check the depth, which is the day of the week? I have to rotate one of the axes, either the x-axis or the y-axis, to check that. But yeah, Saurabh, you said something?
I'm saying that can we make live graphs also in this, means if it is more live, like where I put my cursor and that is showing the values, that will be more easy to understand. Is it possible in Excel, sir?
I don't think so. It is just a descriptive graph of whatever data you have got, but you're saying if I take the cursor here, why is it not dynamically showing me the data?
Yeah, like we did in the Plotly.
Yeah, I know. It is not showing, correct? It is not showing.
Like,
I never checked upon that, but yes, you're right. It should show, and that will actually give me the 3-dimensional picture about. It will show me the number of accident, hour of the day, and what was the day of the week. You're right.
Yeah, so there will
But
be more.
it will be. You know, it gives you these 3 options: fill and line, effects, and size and property. इसमें थोड़ा बहुत आपको स्टडी करना पड़ेगा हमको. Excel itself is huge, but it should be there. By default, it is not coming.
Okay. I will check, sir. I will check. Because the way in Python we made graphs using Plotly.
Yeah, I know. I know.
That's how we can make somehow.
Okay. So now we come to something which is basically very simple, which is a combo chart. What is a combo chart? Now, what are we seeing here is basically we are seeing some digital ads or digital impression, digital advertisement by a company. It shows first the month, then the mobile spend, desktop spend, total spend. What does it mean actually? I am a company and I am putting my display ad either in Google or Facebook. So Google actually has a algorithm and it will show either on the mobile view of your page when you open, or it will show you on your laptop or desktop view when you open the page. So there will be some clicks and this clicks will result in some action. The click on that banner ad will lead the customer to my website where I have a product and I expect him to buy that product, or I expect him to subscribe to my newsletter or do some action on my website. So I want to bring traffic to my website, and the traffic will come only when the user clicks on that ad. The ad is coming, will come anywhere in the internet. It is anywhere it can come. It can be actually viewing a site through your mobile browser, it can come, or you can through your laptop browser, it will come. So every time a person clicks on that ad, my account is debited because I am Google is charging me per click, which is called CPC, cost per click. So, and that is a very dynamic model. Cost per click is a very dynamic model, and one has to bid for that. And whoever bids the highest, and Google actually shows the dynamic bidding. So if the current rate is 1.4 for this category of ad, which is a keyword based search. Keyword based search is a category. Google will say, let's say it's $1.79. If I bid $1.8, then 1.8 becomes the highest bid, and my ad will be shown before the competitor's ad in most of the pages, followed by the second ad, third ad, depending on how much they have done the bidding. So, and also my ad will come more often than the others, because the more my ad comes, the more the chances of people clicking and coming to my site and doing some action. That being said, Google will charge you only on the click that a user does on your ad. It will not be responsible for any further action it happens or it doesn't happen. A person can simply click, come to your site, but he may don't do any action. He'll just go out without buying anything. So action is not their responsibility, Google. That is your responsibility. Your product should be lucrative enough for people to do some action. So I am looking at number of clicks and dollars per click. Of course, number of transaction, percentage of transaction, total spend. Total spend, of course, is total mobile spend and desktop spend. So I have totally spent $800,000 on this ad campaign in the month of January, resulting in 568,000 clicks. And I had bid $1.40 for those clicks. I want more number of clicks. So the percentage of transaction is very low, 0.19. It is varying between 0.18 and 0.2 percentage of transactions. So let me check a simple line model here, because I am taking the months, which is a time series data, and I will check control and click. Control and click. These two I want to check. Insert. I'll see a line. Now, when I look at this line graph, it gives me two graphs. Like you saw the Amazon model and the Google through time. Time is January to December. Blue is the total number of clicks and orange is the dollars per click. Obviously, we are not comparing apples with apples. We are comparing apple with grapes. The denomination of clicks is in $100,000 and dollar per click is $1. So how can you compare something which is $1 to $2 with something which is varying from $300,000 to $600,000? Because this is some number which is there, but it is inconspicuous because the scale is same for both. The scale is 100,000 to 600. So $1 तो यही zero के ऊपर आ जाएगा ना यहाँ पे basically. But this is a unit rate. This is the most important parameter because this unit rate results in the number of clicks. So If I interpret it just like this, I will see that my unit rate is constant, but my number of clicks, which is this is the number of clicks, it is varying. I think very surprising observation. When the unit rate is same, why the number of, because they are, it is actually camouflaged with this high number, because this is only $1 to $2. So I have to create a combo chart, create right click, click change chart type, and then go to combo. It gives you various options. Go to combo. When you click combo, click is obviously clustered column. Dollar per click, it is suggesting should be line, and create this as a secondary axis. That means the moment you create a secondary axis, the secondary axis denominations comes up for the dollar per click. And now it is a uniform comparison because this orange chart is as per the secondary y-axis magnitude, not as per the primary y magnitude, which was coming earlier. Now you see this.
Okay.
Now you see that it is very suggestive, and what it sees that in January my cost per click was reasonable and my number of transactions, number of clicks was quite high. But I subsequently my cost of click I kept on reducing and number of transactions kept down. Quite realistic observation. Based on this, the marketing guys up their bid, increase the cost per click. Number of transactions marginally improved. Then they decrease the cost per click. And number of transactions actually fell down for the first time in the month of June. You know, we did some theoretical discussions on various digital spends and AI algorithms in marketing and all. So the same thing here is coming up. Now the marketing guys have actually increased the dollars per click because they see that the transaction number of transactions or number of clicks are falling, but it continues to fall. They have still increased, it still falls. So they are clueless. अब वो क्या कर रहे हैं कि they are now playing in the blind zone. They have lost that plot totally. Now whether they are decreasing or increasing, the number of transactions have not, it's actually falling, it's not catching up to the earlier levels. We started the cost per click here. This is what you were saying. Na? You take the cursor here, it says dollars 1.4 January. Take the cursor here. It is actually $1.74. But look at the transaction. It has fallen far behind. What does it mean, Saurabh? What does it mean? What does this reflect basically?
If they are increasing the price of per clicks, but the overall clicks are not in that order. So maybe customers are losing interest in their products. We can say whatever they are offering. That's why they are not clicking even after the frequency of their ad and all this is more than the is more.
That could be one, undoubtedly. The other is that the competitors are basically grabbing all the clicks by bidding much higher than what they were bidding. Earlier, they were not bidding as aggressively as you. Possibly you were bidding very high. Now the competitors have actually upped their bids, and that's why they are actually attracting most of the clicks to their website.
But sir, can I not say that after September they are slowly increasing their clicks by month?
Yeah, but they're also subsequently increasing their cost per click, na? Actually, August में देखो 1.62 था. By the time they ended in December, they were already at 1.74.
Yes.
This also increasing. So they're trying their best to match up with, because the key is that I want this number of clicks. This should be high. That means my website traffic has decreased drastically compared to January.
Right.
Is any data analytics, you have to interpret it. Now we come to very interesting plot called spark lines. Have you ever done spark lines?
No, sir.
Okay, wonderful. It's a very interesting plot, and this actually combines the formulas in Excel with a quick picturization of line and column charts. For example, the same temperature versus cities. Now I want to see how this city Anchorage temperature is actually changing, pattern is changing from January to December. And that I want to compare with all the other cities. Obviously, when I do this categorical comparisons, I can do it through line chart as well as a column chart. So I want to first check Anchorage and see how it itself is behaving across the month. Insert, click spark line. It has automatically captured my cells. It will ask the location range. I want the location to be here. Okay. It simply gives me a line chart here. This is how the line chart behaved. It was very low in the month of January. Then it went up. June, July में ऊपर हो गया, फिर December में नीचे. Just as you drag the Excel sheet, just drag it down. Wow. You drag the graphs. And what do you see? Sydney, Auckland, Southern Hemisphere. उल्टा हो गया. Started a high temperature, came down, June, July, then went up. So you see a pattern. The two patterns you are watching, Saurabh. One is same city across the months. Then you are seeing the pattern across the cities in one flow.
Yes.
Now I can bring the cursor here. I can see what is the high point. I click the high point. Or I want to see the low point. I click the low points. Or there is no negative point. I want to click the first point. I want to click the last point. Or I want to click all the markers, observation points, 12 observation points. Similarly, I will do the same thing for column chart. Select, insert, sparkline, column, and take the output here. And then simply drag and drop. You see, this is not a histogram, this is a column chart. And high point, low point. These are the low point. It's not visible, but it is marking. First point, last point.
Yes.
Leave this at markers. Markers is not coming. Low point, first point, all this first point and last point is coming. Now there is a third option which this also gives you. This is for wins and losses. Now this will not come here because in wins and losses you have to have a positive number and a negative number. Only then it will come. Otherwise it will not come. Here you don't have a positive number and negative number. Okay. Now let us do few more interesting exercise now. You have to open up another exercise sheet.
The sales forecasting.
No, that we can do. Baseball analytics.
I'll check.
Did you do your baseball analytics with you?
No, sir. No, we have.
Can I send you on the chat here?
I have, sir. I have this file.
You have this, no? This is a scatter plot only.
I have this file. Yeah, you shared this file.
Yeah, yeah. So let us start this baseball analytics. In the last semester, I had discussed with you one film by Brad Pitt, Moneyball. Did you get a chance to see Moneyball?
No, sir.
That is a very interesting film. What happens in that film is that this chap was a good player in his young days. He doesn't go and join Stanford where he was offered a scholarship to pursue some course because he was picked up by scouts who usually roam around the countryside picking up young boys who have talent in baseball. And his father didn't want him to join baseball and go to Stanford on university on a scholarship. But Brad Pitt decides to pursue his passion, which is baseball. He never became a great player. He was a good player, but never achieved the greatness. But he was a fairly intelligent guy. That's why he had won the scholarship in the first place. So he actually becomes a manager, team manager, and he gets picked up by one of the team owners, picks him up, and his team was at the lowest rung. It is like IPL, with players are auctioned and you have to buy and sell players. Obviously, the poor teams cannot afford and rich teams can afford. Now, this chap actually doesn't go by the star craze of the players and their star tags. He actually is impressed by one analyst he sees in one of the teams, picks that guy up. I'm forgetting his name. He's a business analyst. And these people, they simply do analysis on the data like this. Based on the analysis, they pick up and drop players. And subsequently, he goes up to win the series. He never watched any player play. He never went to the practice session. And he never picked up the highest players in an auction. He simply watched the numbers and composed his team based on what match he had. So you can come to this sheet, which is basically baseball analytics. Player analytics. It shows the four players: Chris Davis, Nelson Cruz, Donaldson, Mike Trout, 4 or 5 players over a period from 2012 to 2015, 4 years. And HR is home runs. You know what is the home run, Saurabh?
Yeah.
You complete the entire circle after hitting the ball. That's a home run, which is a very rarity. You don't actually come to make home runs that easily. So, for example, in Chris Davis in 2012 had 33 home runs. Now, how did these people do the analytics? What analytics will you do here? If I ask you.
So very basic. I can compare that these four. What is the mean of home runs of these four players,
Okay.
different
And
players?
and
So we can find out that whose is the highest one. So one
Mhm.
is we pick up that, and next is that somehow we can make the trend line for them
Mhm.
in 12, 13, 14, 15. So what can happen in 16 or 17?
Mhm.
So that is the another way, and here I think we can add some more variables of each players like their age and also. So what is the possibility that in 2016 how they can perform? So that is little tough, but the first two I think is doable, which I said.
You think mean is good enough?
More mean is not very good enough. It's just a very basic one. But the second, the trend line one is the I think is the better option.
Trend line in gaming is very tough. You don't go in, never approach a concept of trend line
Okay.
for this scoring matches, football, cricket, or whatever. If trend line were the basis, then star players will never get dropped. because their forecast will always be super. Intelligent manager never goes by the trend line. Trend line is nothing but your this thing, the image of that player, the expectations, the hope of that player. See, we go with, let's see a box and whisker and see how it works.
Okay.
Very quickly, 2 or 3 slides. So this is interesting. You can see this slide, baseball analytics.
Yes, sir.
What is the box and whisker? You know what is a median, you know what is upper quartile, what is a lower quartile, you have whisker, and anything outside the whisker is an outlier. You are aware of all these things.
Yes, sir.
Very quickly, you have a data set 5, 10, 16, 18, 20, 20, 32. What is the median? 17 is the median. So the middle line of the box is the median. How do you calculate the size of the whisker, which is 5 and 32? By this. You find the interquartile range, Q1 minus Q3. Q3 plus 1.5 IQR is the maximum size of the whisker. Q1 minus 1.5 IQR is the minimum size of the whisker. Anything outside this whisker is an outlier. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just a quick recap. We come back to our sheet. Which is this sheet. Now this sheet is visible.
Yes.
Simply do a box and whisker plot. In fact, you just take it here, take the cell anywhere. It will pick up the entire cell and go to this new statistical algorithm. Pick box and whisker.
Yes, sir.
Now, what does it show you? This box and whisker. This, first of all, this cross signs are the mean. And this cross sign is the mean, and this line is the median, and this is the size of the whisker. Okay, first of all, let me take the cursor here and do a formatting. Right click, format the data series, and I will just do one thing. I will show the mean line. Click here, and if you show the mean line, this actually anyway gives you a sort of a line plot of all the means which you are telling. That is important, which means that you will blindly pick up this chap, Jose Bautista, Chris Davis, and you'll never pick up this chap, Chris Dutton, who had the highest whisker. In fact, in one of the matches, he actually scored 75 home runs, astonishing home runs. So, you know, what is the game here? The game here is that if you have there will be a series of matches like IPL. If there is a crunch match where you draw and you are out of the series, you lose, you're anyway out of the series. You have to win at any level. So when you have to win at any level, because draw is not an option for you, then you pick up players like Chris Dutton. You don't put, and the rest of the guys, like if I say Jose Bautista, he is the Mr. Consistent. He's a Rahul Dravid, Mr. Consistent. See, इसके basically Q1 और Q3 में ज़्यादा फर्क नहीं है. इसका mean और median almost same ही लग रहा है. See, the cross is going through the median line.
Yes.
You see this? He is the Mr. Consistent. तो given his consistency, वो तो इसी range में score बनाएगा, which is 40 and 25. But I want a लप्पाबाज, क्योंकि मेरे को जीतना है. तो मेरे को चाहिए एक बंदा जो 30-40 होम रन मार दे इस गेम में. We have to, because everybody, my instruction to everybody, go and hit out or get out. You know, आपने सुना है ना क्रिकेट में hit out or get out, क्योंकि ये तो मेरा क्रंच मैच है, मेरे को जीतना ही है. You pick up Chris Dutton. Now, reverse situation. For you, You win, you get to the next level. You draw, you get to the next level. So in that case, where even draw is good enough for you, what will you do? Will you get a guy like Chris Dutton? And if you lose, you're out. If will you get a guy like Chris Dutton, जो लप्पा मारेगा या out हो जाएगा zero पे. There you will look at these kind of guys, the consistent guys. You say कि just stick to a 20-30 runs. Because the opposition will do the lappebaj, and when they do lappebaj, there is a high risk that they will get out. But you have to maintain that score because for you even a draw is good enough. So depending on the situation, you pick up the team. Not that mean is the right criteria. The deviation or dispersion is more important than the mean. एक बार बहुत पहले मैंने आपको एक एक्सरसाइज दिया था between कोहली and शेहवाग. They had the same mean but different dispersion. Which player to choose? Now you come to this sheet, which is baseball team analysis. This is basically for the year 2000 to 2015. उसमें बॉक्स एंड विस्कर में we took a univariate. 2000 to 2015 is basically the data that we have collected. And there are many teams, Minnesota Twins, Florida Marlins, the team names. Team ID is not relevant at all. League also is not at all the name of the league is not relevant. Division is irrelevant. They're all text data. Home runs is important. Runs scored, runs against. How much I have runs scored and how much is the run scored against me. Home runs, run scored, run against. Run difference is the difference between run scored and run against. Then what was your rank in the league and whether you won, whether you lost, and what are the total salary payout, because you are buying players. So my point here is I want to see that how do I ensure maximum number of wins in future. So obviously when I'm looking at something in future, I have to look at correlation between two data points. Correlation between two data points, इसमें मैं आप देखूंगा हमारे correlation कि अगर मेरे को wins को ही जीतना है तो will it be very useful if run scored मेरे high रहे. Run scored is how much I'm scoring against you. Runs against is कि आपने मेरे against कितना, मेरे against कितना run score हुए. Run score ज़्यादा होना चाहिए कि run against ज़्यादा होना चाहिए. So I'll see कि maybe I should keep on ensuring कि run score and forget about runs against. So I pick up run score, control, wins. Run score, control and click, wins. Pick up these two cells. Go to something called a scatter plot. And here you see the scatter plot coming. इसको थोड़ा और नीचे ले जाते हैं. थोड़ा और नीचे ले जाते हैं. RS versus W. Run scores versus. There is a good scatter plot. It looks like it's a good correlation, which means that whenever we have scored runs, teams have won. But for that, to understand it, that I will see the trend line. In the trend line, I'm not particular about the actual trend line which is appearing. I will also not see something called a display equation. I'll see something which is called a R square. So when I look at this, what is the R square, Saurabh, here?
0.26.
And what is R square?
Sir, I'm not. So how you get this trend line?
Oh, just click here. You'll see this square box coming.
Yeah.
Then click here. Take the arrow here. More option.
Okay.
And then you'll get it. How is this R square coming? What is this R square?
R
What is
square,
this?
R square actually tells us that how much, how the dependent variable is defined by the our independent.
Independent. What is the impact of the independent variable on the dependent variable? Correct.
Yes.
What is the impact? The impact is very low. Highest is 1, which is never the case, but usually it should be for more than 0.7 to have a good impact. It's not impacting. Dependent variable is wins. Independent variables is, let's say, run score. So run score is not impacting on the wins.
But
Very,
sir,
very.
in game and also like we can say that 26% it is impacting. So
But that's low, no? It should not be good impact is more than 0.6. You know it. It's a
okay.
very low impact. In fact, it is not even a regression equation. It is more of two variables correlation. So if it is so, let me now see कि run against बचा लूं. Shall I have lesser runs against me? Will that help me win? एक तो basically offensive खेलूं, दूसरा defensive खेलूं. Offensive खेलूं, I go all out to score runs. Defensive खेलूं कि अपने against runs ना बनने दूं, fielding tight करूं, bowling tight करूं. Correct.
Yeah.
And maybe that will help me win. Let's
Okay.
see. Control win, and then insert scatter. I see a scatter opposite हो रहा है basically obviously क्योंकि run against है, but it's a good plot. Trend line, more option, display equation, display R square.
38%.
This is 38%.
Yes.
Let me check again I and wins. Insert scatter plot. Yeah, I picked up something, didn't pick all that. This is how the scatter plot will look because उसमें negative आ ही नहीं रहा था ना plot में. Because तुम्हारा runs difference, you will pick the run difference in the win. Sorry, not run against. Pick up the run difference. The run difference should be as low as possible between run scored and run against. Then only you can predict the win, which essentially means that कि आपका run against should be low and run RS should be high, which means let me rephrase my equation. When I only looked at the run score parameter, my R square was 0.26. So what do you do in a regression equation? You feel that R square is low, maybe you should take another independent variable. So simple regression equation becomes a multivariate regression equation. So you think that are there any other independent variables which are affecting the wins? You say कि यार मेरे को run difference ले लूं तो it will take run score as well as run against, because run difference is nothing but difference of run score and run against. So I should be taking into the independent variable run scored as well as run against. So as well as you can take run difference. Run difference can be negative because अगर run against ज़्यादा हो run score से तो run difference negative आ जाएगा. That's why it goes into negative quadrant. देखते हैं.
So we have to score more and run against should be less.
Yeah, correct. Then it goes to the positive quadrant. But it is, and otherwise if run against ज़्यादा है तो it goes to the negative quadrant, which means that this regression equation, this scatter plot tells you कि here the win chances are higher, here the win chances are lower, but it is definitely impacting your win. Lower win chances is loss, higher win chances is win. So you go here, now look at the trend line, more option, display equation, some equation. Now look at the R square. What is the R square here?
87.54.
Correct. That's it. This is what is the parameter. You should take a run difference. Is the parameter. The run difference should be as low as possible. Instead, it should be actually as positive as possible. It should be in the positive quadrant. It goes towards win. It should not be negative. If your run difference is positive, then the chances of your winning is very high. This is what the baseball analytics tells you. Now let us quickly look at this one, which is your sales forecasting. Now let us look at sales forecasting. Have you opened up this sheet, sales forecasting?
Sir, I'm opening.
It's
getting open, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, I opened.
Great. Now look at this sheet, which is forecasting. Now here you are looking at data. This data is basically sales forecast data. It is a month is date given, some months from 1st April to 30th April. There is a target which is gap. See, this is a sales team which is given a daily target of $5,000. Every day you have to sell $5,000 of goods. So महीने के end में कितना होगा? $1,50,000. So every day they are achieving some number, 2,000, 8,000 something. So obviously, since it's a daily target, you will take the cumulative revenue. Now at the end of 20 days, your cumulative quota is 101,000. Your target remains 150,000 at the end of the month. That means for the remaining 10 days, you have to still achieve 48,000. That's why it's showing negative. And this is the percentage achievement. So every day का revenue होता है उसका आप cumulative लेते हो क्योंकि आपका daily का $5,000 add हो रहा है cumulative way में, ending at $1,50,000. Correct? You have understood the equation? What exactly is the problem? Okay, now let's look at this. Now this is a separate chart, different chart. I let me start a new concept, start something with a blank chart and then add data manually. Insert 2D line chart, empty chart, select data. इसमें कुछ मत करो, add data, series name, first take goal, name only, it's a categorical variable, just click goal. Series values, pick up everything, all the numbers under goal.
Okay.
Close this. Okay. Now go to the horizontal x-axis. Even if you don't take, it will take by default. Edit. Pick up all the values of date, which is the horizontal axis, because you're manually picking up the data now and filling up the chart. Okay. Now I want to add one more category. Target, name, values, all values of target. Okay, see the charts has started coming up. Okay. One more category, add. Cumulative revenue. Series value. Take the cumulative revenue till whatever date has been given. Okay. Overall okay. See. Give some title access. This is the goal, 150,000. This is the target. And here you are, sometimes you are down, sometimes you are up. This is your actual achievement. Right, you got this.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now you can simply do a quickly this thing. Let's simulate some other things. This is, let's say, overs. So 50 over match. I'll just take one. And if I do this, it will be counting one only. So I'll take two numbers so that one is incremented. And then take the block of these two and then drag it down till 50 overs. 31, 32, फिर दो लूंगा. I'm simulating the data. $50. Okay. India batting first. How will you randomly put the data when you have no data set?
By rand int.
And between. It's a game now. So let me say कि minimum they score 1 per over, maximum they score 10 per over. ठीक है? Fair assessment?
Yes, sir.
This is the number of scores per over, random, sum. Okay. So the sum has come, which is 254. Now I'll say cumulative scores after every over, cumulative end. Numbers are bound to change because it's random. This is cumulative, this plus this. Then I will drag it down. Okay. See, it matches at the end of 50 overs, 277. Then Australia. It's a fair play. So I will say same rand between 1 and 10. They also have a same condition. They will also make, it will be between 1 and 10. And let me take till 47 overs. Cumulative was this plus this. And take cumulative till this point. They're already 280. So the batch remaining 3 till 314, they have to have 3 overs. Now let's start. Draw a patch, empty one. Line chart. Select data. Add data. Series name, cumulative India. Series value. All the runs here. Okay. Horizontal. Default will take anyway. The chart has started coming in. I've taken the overs. Okay. I'll add one more column. Australia cumulative. Till only 47, but I'll take all the 50. What did I take here? Series name. It's Australia cumulative. Series value. I'll take all the 50. The last 3 overs, it's 0. It's still not played. Okay. And say okay. See, this is how the graph is looking now. Australia at orange, and this is at blue, India. Australia was ahead. Now it has actually come behind India. So this is how the TV projections will start giving you, and they'll give you various projection. So for example, Australia makes 5 runs. What happens? So this cumulative score falls to 246. It is now fallen behind India. Now in the next over, they make 14 runs. Where are they now? They are much behind India. इसका 5 की जगह ना थोड़ा जाती हो गई 10 कर देते हैं. They are now neck to neck. Last over they make only 6 runs. And they'll win the match overall. You see, this is how the run rate and other things are actually shown as you see it and all. Now there is a custom gauge chart. So can we quickly do that also?
Yes, sir, sure.
Okay, so we'll just finish everything today itself. Let's see what is a custom gauge chart. This is basically fourth chart. Now this is a custom gauge chart where you want to build basically what you are trying to build. You are basically trying to build a needle speedometer. It is called a gauge and needle effect. So the values that you will change is this. This is the only value is change, and the needle should keep on moving from one quadrant to another. It is actually half a chart only. So a maximum you can take maximum value is 10 on a scale of 0 to 10 or 0 to 100%. So first I create a donut chart. Create a donut of half the. I'll create half the donut chart. How I create half the donut chart? 4 quadrants and 50. This is how I create. I want to simulate this figure. Pick up everything. Insert just to show how donut is important. Create a donut chart. आपका donut आ गया? आ गया ना?
I'm making, sir. I'm making.
Just click on this half of the donut.
Yes,
Format data series.
आ गया, sir.
Click on the left half of donut, format data series. Click here, go to fill and simply say no fill. Again pick up because it has to be inserted, it has to be clicked at the right point. Format data point, some sound is coming. I think it's coming from your side.
Yeah, because there is a temple beside my
Okay.
home.
So जब no fill करते हो तो आपका ये आधा चार्ट उड़ गया. Correct. Now we have to fill up these values. This is basically nothing a combo chart. You are creating, simulating this entire speedometer by using a combo chart, which is a combo chart of a donut chart and a scatter plot. Scatter plot is basically X and Y. I'll show you why we are taking a scatter plot. But before that, I will show you something. Just close down this thing and just open up your browser.
Yes, sir.
Now you see the browser?
Yes, sir.
HTTPS mathisfun.com geometry unit circle.html. एडवांस अगर आप करेक्ट कर रहे हो तो डजंट मैटर, इट्स अ फेयरली ओके साइट. You will see something like this, correct? See this, try it yourself and just rotate this. What do you see? I'm trying to create this half circle here. So the blue one is my x-axis and the green line is my y-axis. So the scatter plot is green and blue. And as you can see, as at this point, you see all the cos and sine angles. The blue line is driven by the cos theta and the green line is driven by the sine theta. Are you seeing that?
Yes, sir.
Y is the sine and blue is the cos. Okay. Now I again come back to my this thing. Is this slide visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now I fill up this degrees. Now the degrees is let's say chart value 10 है, उसका अगर मैंने by default 5 लिया है तो this will be nothing but 5 divided by 10 into 180 degrees because half chart I'm creating. So it will be 90 degrees. 5 is 90 degrees of 180 because this entire thing is 180. So 5 is 90 degrees. I have just correlated this 5 by 90. I'll take the initial values at 0, 0. The needle is starting at 0 and 0. Now I will plot the y values first. What is the y value? Variable point, the second point. Y is nothing but sine value. So when I take sine value, it is asking me a number, not degrees. But Excel has a concept formula called radians. RADINS. It converts degrees into number. So I'll press this and just press this. 1. X value is nothing but cos. Radians D2. So I get this variable values X and Y. Radian simply converts its degrees into the various points. So far so good.
Yes.
Now since what we have done is that points of scatter plots are X and Y and they are already obtained. Now I have to add this new series of scatter point to my donut chart, half donut. So come here, right click, select data, add series name. I'm adding needle as the series name. Series value you can take X and Y both, but let's start with Y first.
Can you do this step one more time, sir? I could not select the. Okay, now okay.
Got it?
Yeah. Format.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you do this, you will see a concentric circle coming up now. You see a concentric circle coming up now, concentric donut. Now I want to superimpose the scatter plot on the combo. So again, I'll do this thing, right click. Now to superimpose, we've seen in combo, change chart type. Go to combo, series 1, which shows cluster column, choose donut. Choose
Sir,
donut.
how you are getting one more circle?
Okay, let me just complete it, then we'll see.
Okay.
And the second one, which is a needle, you are basically getting a scatter, you want a scatter plot. So you look at the scatter plot and you choose on the scatter with the straight lines and markers. The moment you do this, you get this. You automatically got a needle. But you have to populate the second series, which is the X. अभी हमने Y करा है खाली. So again you go select data, because you have to do select data, populating the data all the time. Choose the needle, choose edit. Series name is needle. X-axis was not populated. Populate the X-axis. Y is already populated. And OK. This thing is done. Data is now well fitted. Now you simply have to do the alignment of the needle, which is some playing with Excel. So you do one right click, you take this legend here. I have to format this X-axis. I'll show you again everything. And here you put the minimum as, because it will be -1 to +1, -1 +1. So it's minus, and this also convert between -1 and +1. Once you are done, I want these numbers to remain -1 to +1, but I don't want them. I'll just remove them. Now, the remaining thing is that I have to just flip this chart. For that, I will again go format data series. And here I'll make the angle as 270 degrees. And here I'll just increase the size of the donut a bit. Now, what I have to do is I have to just superimpose this on this to give the percentage effect. I can test it. I increase the value to 6. The donut starts moving. The chart moves moving. I move it to 9. But it is moving in an opposite direction. इसको तो उल्टा मूवना चाहिए ना, तो क्लॉकवाइज मूवना चाहिए, काउंटर क्लॉकवाइज क्यों मूव रहा है? इसके लिए हम उसको क्या कहते हैं, कॉस को माइनस कॉस करेंगे हम. अब इसको आप चेंज करो. सी now it is moving. Perfect. Saurabh, what we'll do, there are a series of steps, but you just saw how quickly we made a speedometer. But we'll start with this in a fresh mind on Thursday. Okay. And then get to work. But I hope you got some inputs. We went through many types of charts today.
Yes.
But आपके दिमाग में होना चाहिए. And just save your Excel sheet. And if you have any doubt, you can always get back. But ये ना आपके साथ ready reckoner होना चाहिए. At any point of time, given a situation, apply your mind, quickly create a chart, and you will really move ahead than others.